Hello and welcome. Tuesday, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. As I used to say, noon Mountain Time. For right now, as I'm traveling, we'll do 7 a.m. So here we are talking about how a point of view can disempower us. Marian, why don't you take off?
Thank you, Karina, and hello again. And for me, it's still afternoon, so it's not that quite early for me. So, yeah, yesterday we had a really good conversation again, and nearly at the same time, it became clear that where we were talking about and the experience we both had with conversations and with ourselves is how much a point of view really disempower us, all of us, as though, yeah, you have a point of view. What is a point of view? It's literally a point where you are looking at, and it is so small in whatever there is possible and available. And by going with that point of view, always looking at the same point, you shut out so many possibilities. And your point of view becomes also your reality. So everything you shout out pushes away, it looks like it doesn't exist. So it never can become a reality because it's not in your awareness. It is in your awareness, but yeah, awareness we shut out and it doesn't exist also at that time. So from that point of view, looking at that, that is really an interesting point of view. It's clear that it disempowers because what I experienced in the past for myself, and lately I get it more and more with more people, having conversations, especially when it's about the situation that is ruling the world now, is like settling in even in a point of view where it starts to become a fixed point of view. And then even less movement is possible because it's so fixed that it is, in a way, so much disempowering that it takes all the breath out of it. How do you experience, yeah, point of views and reality and this empowerment?
I mean, one thing, looking back over years of having been in access, uh, for instance, where I disempowered myself is uh, going to my head and saying, oh, this is possible. Or there's nothing possible. I just have to accept that as a fact.
Mm.
And it was especially in conversations about the fires in California. This is just the nature. There is nothing we can do. And today I really know, I'm aware of the fact that if I'm willing to go beyond my head, there is so much more possible.
Yeah.
The the world does not work according to what we are being told, to what we have made real. And there is so much more possible. There is this give and take, this receiving and requesting contribution and receiving the contribution, uh, and the willingness to contribute that the earth has, that nature has, that molecules have, like what we talked 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago
ago.
about our cars going way longer, or having gratitude that there uh, is a
Yeah,
shift. And
And can I interrupt you for a second? Because there was an energy that
yeah,
really spoke loud to me when you were
yeah,
speaking. It is that energy you mentioned, accepting, as only that accepting is like an energy that closes up. It's
yeah.
there is nothing more possible. There is nothing else. I have to accept what is, as though I have no power. I am less than. Because when we accept things, don't we do that? That making that other thing
Bigger than
in a
us.
way
Yes.
bigger than us, because there is no movement possible there. I have no power. I have no power. Isn't that also in, what we often choose, to have no power, to not be potent?
And how much have we been taught growing up as kids that we have no power because the power resided with the parents? They made us do. We had to accept that.
And we have no power because they tell us also we don't know things,
We
because
don't
we
know.
didn't have experienced life. So we
Yes.
can't know. Yeah.
And then what pops for me is that we have no power is something we are taught in religion.
Oh, yes.
God is all powerful, and it really doesn't matter which religion, which denomination whatsoever. And that is what we're being taught. And I so remember, who do you think you are? This is God's, right? You can't do that.
Yeah. And if it would be that you could do something, you are not allowed, because you have to give it in the hands of God.
Yeah,
He will have the solution. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
And
There are,
who are we mere humans to think that we know?
yeah, but there you say something. And the expression is like that. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Yeah,
While it is that what wants to dominate us is the thinking, because there we are the knowing and the potency, and potency, is not allowed in this reality
yeah, yeah.
unless you have one or another title before your name. Then there is
That
something
or a
possible.
ton of money.
Oh, yes,
I
also.
mean, let's call it a few billions.
Yeah, 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 so true. But then the other side is when we make that point of view so great and powerful that we are powerless, then we can believe also all the things that we can make with ease greater and bigger than us. And isn't it like nature, the weather? Aren't we growing up with that idea that that is a thing no one can mess us up? That's only God knowing what he wants to do with that, he or she. We never discovered what it is, but so
Yeah.
but there it starts already as something. It makes the weather is part of our daily life.
And the weather you would like, the weather that my neighbor would like, the weather that that farmer would like, the weather that I would like, we would create total chaos.
Yeah, and that isn't allowed also,
Yeah.
chaos. But here is also something in, as it is true, and it's another type of chaos, and it's a chaos perhaps that not would create that much because it would be overpowered by thinking and by those who wants to have the most power. Nevertheless, what if it's not about the weather I would like, you would like, my neighbor would like, but what if we could grow up with being with nature, being with earth, and asking wherever we are, what is required here?
That's the
That's
key point.
completely different.
Yeah.
That is completely different. But mm, I never heard it. Never, never, never heard it up till I came into Access. But up till then, I never heard someone asking me a question or inviting me to have a conversation with birds or whatever. There are so many rituals we have where I'm coming from. There was something knowing that when you take, I believe it was 12 eggs, a dozen or half of a dozen eggs into the cloister, then you could have a really nice day with a lot of sun for whatever there was to celebrate when you had a wedding
Ah,
or a communion or whatever it was. It was required to have a sunny day on that day, and to to secure that sunny weather, you required to take eggs to the nuns at that cloister or whatever it was, cluster, and then it was, yeah, you could be sure you would have that weather. Where does that come from?
exactly. Now, yeah, you didn't know that you have to know that nuns or monks or people like that are more powerful than you because they have the direct line to God versus you have to go through them. She
Oh,
says
that's,
facetiously.
but there is quite quite shorts on that, the direct line with God. What is that about? But that was about what they told us. But
Yeah.
whatever does that mean? A direct line. Wow. As though we are source. How many people are living from the knowing that they are the source of their reality, the source of their life?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about one big source that orients everything. How many people are living from that point of view, which is taking away every knowing, every
And
power?
it, I mean, the simplest thing is that the disempowerment is because we are not the source. The source is outside of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
And uh, what I want to say, and yeah, it is true. I just checked. This is for people who are in power positions. That belief is vital. That we have the belief that the source is outside of us because they, the people
Yeah,
in power, are the source.
yeah. And then they can use also that as an excuse. I'm acting on this like this, or I'm doing this because of
Yeah.
the big source. Yeah, yeah. But then in the other way, we use that for ourselves to always disempower ourselves, because then we are going to look to the rectifications for why we choose what we choose. So it is also from that source outside of us that instead of taking more power, less power. Those who have power are going to use the source outside of them. Have to take even more power on them. But then the others who are really believing that they are powerless and the source outside of them, you can use it also in the opposite side, making you even less powerful than you think you are. And you are already powerless. So you are going lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing that just comes back to me is when I was talking about the weather, how I grew up, that everybody wants a different weather. Uh, it is really a display of total selfishness. I
Yeah.
want my weather. I don't care what weather you want. I don't care what weather
Yeah.
the earth needs, what whatever. Uh, and that is really through being willing to ask a question. What is required here? What is including everybody else and everything else?
Do you know the energy that comes in for me now? Because I can hear my dad saying so many times, "Ah, it's good that the weather is the one thing no one can influence or having the power on. Because if it would so, we would live, our daily life would be war." That was his point of view.
Mm-hmm.
But in truth, we are we are living that war inside of us because we are always in war with ourselves, fighting ourselves. And not
Yeah.
only towards the man, but that energy, I really can perceive it now, how that it goes even beyond what I up till now even could perceive, that that war energy inside of us we are using in our daily life to keep alive and maintain our point of views, because we are accepting that it is like it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was an energy that's life. That's life. It is like it is. That's life. It is here in Portugal, really everyone uses it, even in situations or conversations that it makes sense, no sense. It's like automatic coming out of their mouth.
Yeah.
That's life. That's life. That's life.
There's nothing we can do about.
Nothing. Nothing. And
Yeah.
as I see really their choices they make, they go, they follow, they most of them. A few people are different, like it is everywhere, but it's that, yeah, that energy of accepting is the energy of accepting an energy that gives even more power to the point of view, which disempower us.
Yeah.
And is it because it is a lie when we accept something, and I was one of them, but still, how many people function from when I accept something, then I can categorize it or I can pull it somewhere else, so it doesn't have to bother me anymore, but more like it's gone. When I accept it, it's gone, which is a lie.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
give it.
it is so important for us to be able to put things in the correct box.
Mm-hmm. And that expression also, Karina, um, I grew up with, and even with the modalities in the spirituality, it was like when there is something, you have first to accept it, and then when you accept it, then you can give it a place. As you mentioned, put it in the right box. And that was something I never got. What does that mean? Give it a place, as you know, but that's about, yeah, the
And
disempowerment.
is it only through acceptance that I can surrender something
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
a higher power?
yeah, yeah, because oh yes, this energy, when I accept, that is also a rectification and the proof that I am a good being and I'm on the right way, because it doesn't affect me anymore. That's the belief I have. Does it affect you? Absolutely. Because something you accept is feeding the powerless idea,
Mhm.
being powerless idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is that about, as going with the disempowerment and the point of view and acceptance as forgiveness? Because forgiveness includes, in a way, still the wrong and the rightness. You
The
are wrong, the
judgment.
other
Yeah.
are right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I forgive even myself for something I did, I forgive myself. For me, I notice when saying that, there is also ruling, in a way, the energy of acceptance. And it not really, but that's how I experience it now and perceive it for myself now. It not really change something. As when I am in allowance towards the forgiveness, when I go beyond the forgiveness and I can be in allowance of myself with what I chose there and what I did or whatever it is about, it's something, there is something else. There is something else in that energy.
What comes for me energetically, if again there is that center of power and is outside of me versus is inside of me. Forgiveness, the center of power, even though it's seemingly because I forgive myself, resides within me. But if I am in allowance of what I do, the power is within me.
Yeah.
There is not a question about it.
And that is what I noticed. Now you are saying it, it is really perceiving the energy of the allowance is, it's the possibility to become
Yeah,
even more
yeah,
powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
And how much does the word allowance, no, let me rephrase, how much does the word forgiveness include judgment?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when there is something to forgive, there is judgment.
Yeah.
I was wrong, I was right, the other was wrong, the other was right. Whatever it is, there is judgment.
Yeah.
And
And
also there was always something for me in that energy, but yeah, forgiveness. And then they use the sentence, yes, I can forgive you, but I will never forget it. And then I thought, what's that about? When I it starts to become more clear is when I spoke about forgiveness, then it was also to forget. Then
yeah, it was done.
everything goes open and can flow again. But is that not more the energy of allowance?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how often, because we speak about is also the we are the source. We are the source of everything. We are the source. But truly, how many times per day are we still having that intention or leaning into something or someone making the source of, which is making greater, bigger, more powerful,
Yeah.
whatever we choose with that. Yeah, yeah. And that brings in now, oh, yes, that's also still something I choose with money. Way, 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 way less than before. But still, I catch now in our conversation how much, yeah, money is as a source outside of me because money comes from blah, 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 blah. So it is outside of me. Yeah.
Yeah. And how much is it also that I can make money in this way or that way, and that's it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is also what we believed, we grew
Yeah.
up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to have money, you have to be rich or you have to work hard. It's
Yeah.
not hanging on the trees. It's not falling on the ground, on the ground. Yeah, whatever.
Money grows on trees, I'm saying nowadays, if you own an orchard.
Yeah, but it is for me, I can say, Karina,
Yeah.
the playfulness with becoming really clear about energy of money, it took me already a while, and it starts
Yeah.
finally it starts really to melt and to get that it's not about the money, it's not about paper and the coins, it's not about that. But yeah, hey, still a way to go. And what else is possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also here it is because all of those underlying point of views we took on, we buy into, we believe, no matter from where they come, that is making our reality. That is making our
Yeah.
reality.
And that is why it is so vital that we really are willing to look at our points of view.
Yeah.
And how, so often the question is, how do I look at a point of view that I have? Because let's be honest, most of our points of view we are not even aware of.
Yes, so true.
And it is really on some level, uh, look at what your life is today and ask the question, what points of view had to be in place to create the life that I have today?
Yeah.
And
And it is, yeah,
do,
you
do I
can't,
wish to change some?
yeah, but you know, point of view, it is really a point. So it creates our reality, as you mentioned it today, what appears as your reality. How truly, how many point of views are there in place?
Yeah,
As you see, how many dots are there to create a piece of paper? It's completely something different, but it is. It is with our reality, and we don't catch it. We don't get it because no one else before brought that into my attention as it was otherwise. It was that's the reality that you have to accept. Do you want to change something? Then blah, 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 blah. Point of view, point of view, point of view, point of view. From the reality of the person who is speaking. Because the neighbor can see this reality completely different, speaking about the same reality, but and they think they speak about the same reality, but the neighbor is seeing it completely different. So that neighbor says also, this is reality. And if you want to change it, then blah, 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 blah. All different point of views. So which point of views are we taking on? Also those who are matching, vibrating with the point of views we already have and are
yeah.
not really aware of or conscious of. Yeah,
And that also leads to the next step, quote unquote, who becomes our friend? Where do we live? Meaning there is a right side of town and a wrong side of town. Uh, what job do we have? I mean, how much are points of view influencing without us even being aware of
yeah,
our life?
yeah, yeah. But if you see it, Karina, when we are born, newborn one, how many point of views in the first 24 hours are projected on that creature? Because it has to go like this has to do this and this and this and this, and it is already within the first 24 hours made wrong for several things. Nevertheless, the happiness, the glory there is at the same time because of the new life, because of the happiness, to welcoming that new creature, it goes hand in hand. So yeah, it's when I got it that I wasn't wrong for sensing me myself and feeling myself that strange, weird creature in my family, because I saw and perceived things different than what they were speaking about. But because I was the only one, I thought at that moment, because you can't speak about it, we start to look for what is matching their point of views so you can orientate it yourself to fit in so you
Yeah.
have more information. Wow, that's for the first time I see now clear that it's not that we are going to look and reach out for point of views that matches our point of views. No, we are going to look for those who matches with everyone around us. So we have more point of views and more information, quote unquote, to use. to fit in their box. And how much work is that? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we aren't allowed when you are little. I wasn't allowed to say that I wasn't happy, that I didn't sense it the same way, that I felt different. It wasn't allowed. But yeah,
And
to shut up.
we didn't know. And also that we were empowered in the sense that we caused the emotions that other people around us
Oh, yes, yes,
had.
yeah. There we were the
How,
source from. Oh,
how disempowering is that?
yeah. Wow, this Karina, yeah. The way we disempowered the others with what we caused by our actions and words. And wow, time to change, time to choose different. And let us be as powerful as we truly are and as potent as we truly are. What would that create?
Probably a happier world.
I can speak for myself. The more I allow myself to be the powerful creature I truly am, the more happiness,
And
more laughter, the
it's
more
it's all
ease.
yeah, it's also empowering myself to choose happiness.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Karina. That's beautiful. Empowering yourself to be more happiness because
Yeah,
that's our
because
nature. Yeah,
it is choice, and I have noticed that since I played with it, since I started traveling, and just out of the blue say, so what if I choose happiness right now?
yeah,
Not that I was particularly unhappy or anything, that I had a reason and a justification to choose happiness. No, I just did it for the
yeah,
experimentation, let's put it that way.
yeah,
But what I found is that every single time I did that, my level of happiness changed.
yeah. But
It
it is
grew.
powerful. As I never looked at it that way. As you were saying it right now, it is empowering yourself with the choices you make. But empowering yourself is
Yeah.
a choice. Is a choice, but empowering, acknowledging that choice is empowering the
Yes.
soul you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful. That's a
And
beautiful note. Oh, wow.
isn't isn't it also that if I choose, I'm basically teaching myself, empowering myself that I am the source.
Yeah, yeah, that's it is
So
really, yeah,
it is something we can choose to change, that disempowerment, or we can choose to keep it.
yeah, yeah, and that is a choice. It's just a choice.
It yeah,
And that is when we can acknowledge also that every choice, no matter what choice it is just a choice. And
yeah,
that is the real true empowerment I sense in that when I'm saying it. Really, every choice, no matter what, it doesn't matter what my point of view is about your choices. or about the choices of my neighbor. It doesn't matter, because a choice is just a choice. And when it is just a choice, we can choose again and again and
And again,
again
yeah,
and again and again. And nothing has to stick us.
yep.
How powerful is that? Let us empower even more. Wow, thank you for this. Thank you.
Let's empower ourselves
Yeah,
to
let's do
choose.
that.
Until next time,
Until next time, and we will see
what we're
what
going
we
to talk
will bring
about then.
up. Bye, take care.
Bye.